Hello everyone, welcome to the Mindful Minimalist. I know I've got some crazy hair going on today. It's just like, this video is all about unschooling. I know I've been hitting this topic hard lately, but school is coming up in the fall, and with things that are going on the way they are, we really don't know what's going to happen. And I know a lot of parents are concerned, probably more than concerned, probably freaking out at this point about what they're going to do with their children. Today's unschooling video is going to be giving you a day in the life of what unschooling looks like for a family. And this is just for us. We may be completely different than other homeschooling families. We may not do things the same way as them. So just take this as what we might do on a typical day and how that relates to our schedule. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing, and again, these are all things that may happen. This may not be in our schedule every single day, but these are some things that typically happen in our home for our child. So he watches cartoons. It happens. If your kid doesn't watch cartoons, well, you're a better parent than me. So he does watch some cartoons, and he watches them in Spanish. That is my choice because we have a bilingual home and I want him exposed to more language. So he's learning language, foreign language if you want to call it that. He's learning grammar, vocabulary, syntax, emotion. He's learning plot. Like there's just an endless amount of things they're learning from TV, even though people think like, oh, it's the devil, it's going to ruin their brains. Like, no, you can actually learn a lot. Another thing is playing on his iPad. He doesn't get to play on it unlimited. He has very strict regulations on what he can do. Again, it's all chosen and laid out by me, but he has the choice. I can give it to him and he can choose whatever he wants to do. That's him getting to work on his independence, creativity, choice, self-guided learning, self-guided play, all of those things. And depending on what he's doing, he's going to be learning a lot of content, whether it's something focused on letters or numbers or shapes or animals or whatever it may be. If it's a race car game or a car race, because he loves those. He's learning about speed. He's learning about different parts of a car. I mean, it's just endless. Speaking of cars, cars are his favorite. He loves playing with cars, and he does that every single day, no matter what. That is his imagination. That is him just flourishing in the natural realm of childhood. I have said this before, but my favorite unschooling quote is actually from Maria Montessori, a Montessori teacher, which we really take from both of those approaches. And the quote is, "Work is the play of the child." And I just need to get that on a canvas or something because I love it so much. And it's so true. So when my son is playing with his cars, he's working. It doesn't look like your 3-year-old in pre-K learning to write letters on a line, because one's structured, one is do this, it's on paper, the teacher says so. The other is, hey, I feel like playing with cars today. And it looks like one is more educational than the other, but in all honesty, they're not. They're not. Think about in your life today, how much harder would it be for you to learn how to write a letter or write a word if you didn't know how to, versus developing creativity. One is way easier than the other. Writing, he will get to whenever he gets to it. Whenever he has the need or the desire to write, he will. Right now, he has the desire to play with cars, and so that's what he does. So I have my computer here. I'm looking at a couple of other things. He likes to play a memory game that's on his iPad. I'm going back to the iPad, I'm sorry. And so that's another key thing, is memory. You can be working on their memory in so many unschooling ways. Let's see, he chooses his own food when we provide options. Most of the time we do give him some options. Sometimes we say, okay, this is what we're having, this is what we're gonna eat. But most of the time we'll provide him 3 or 4 options and he can choose which one he wants to eat. That's giving him that autonomy, that independence. It's teaching him, you don't have to eat everything that's on the plate, or you don't have to eat the whole bowl of whatever. I want him to eat until he's full and stop when he knows to stop, and that includes choosing a bigger meal, choosing a smaller meal, choosing this, choosing that. As long as I know that he's getting some nutrition in there, I'm cool with him making those choices after I have selected what I think is healthy enough for him. He also goes and gets his own dishes. He puts his own dishes away. He goes and gets his own diaper, his own wipes. He knows how to do all of that. He likes to help with laundry. He likes to help mop. He feeds the cat. He feeds the dog. All of those things are life lessons. I mentioned this before, but another important part of Montessori learning is practical life. And the reason why I talk about Montessori and unschooling together so much is they just have a lot in common, and they're both kind of the mixture of what we do in our home. So practical life is important in both of those methods because it's learning how to be a person. That's literally what life is about. It's about learning to be a person. Life is not about learning to sit still in a desk. Life is not about becoming a robot. Life is not about memorizing and then vomiting facts and then forgetting them. Life is about learning from life. Children, this is one of my favorite examples. Children grow up learning how to speak just from being babies. No one sits down and says, okay, little Jimmy, 6-month-old, here's a grammar book, go read it so you can learn how to speak English. No one does that. So why do we try to push that concept of teaching onto children? We don't teach them to walk, they figure it out. We don't teach them to talk, they figure it out. We don't teach them to eat, they figure it out. Now we may assist them and help them along the way, but by nature, they will learn what they need to learn because that's survival. So at this point in life where most of us in the developed world are not struggling with survival, so it's not an issue of, oh my goodness, I need to do this or I won't be able to live, but they're able to make those choices about what they need to learn in the moment. Whatever they feel like inside they are needing, they will go after. And an example of why I trust this is for myself. I love Spanish so much. It's one of my biggest passions ever. And I wanted to learn Spanish, so I pretty much taught myself Spanish. I studied in high school and in college, but I taught myself so much outside of the classroom that was never taught to me by a teacher. I spent so much time practicing on my own, doing all of that on my own because I was interested in it. Did I spend that much time and effort in my algebra class? Nope. What about my American history? Nope. Couldn't care less about those things. But I loved Spanish. That's what I needed to learn. That's what I learned. And that's exactly what children are doing in this lower level, whether it be them choosing to write their letters or choosing to go play with cars. It really doesn't matter at the end of the day. They're learning in both of them. Let me go on because that was a long rant. Choosing his own clothes is another way of getting to make decisions and have that autonomy, knowing he is his own self. These are his items, not mine. I am not in charge of his body. He is. The next thing, and this sounds so silly to think of as like educational, is napping. He is learning the importance of rest. He's learning to read those body cues of when he is tired, when he needs to stop and rest. That's something that I am 26 and still struggle with. Learning to realize, okay, I'm tired, I need to stop, I need to do this, this is what my body needs. When he's napping, he is learning that process that we go through. Brushing teeth and bedtime, he is learning a routine there for sure. And that's something that's important for kids to have, but I don't think it has to be a mom says you have to get up at 7, mom says you have to go to bed at 7. I think it should be what the kids feel. So my son wakes up when he wants to wake up, and we encourage him to go to sleep earlier, but it doesn't always happen. He is learning a lot just from developing a routine. He's learning this thing happens over and over, this is consistent, this is something I can count on, but also this is something important. This is something that I need to do every day. One last thing that I want to cover with you guys is something that was so cool and eye-opening for me. So we went on a walk and I was just amazed at the things we were able to cover and discuss and learn during that time period. I'm going to throw up some pictures for you guys somewhere on this screen showing you some of the things we found, but we saw different shapes. We saw leftover fireworks on the ground that we could talk about. We saw different animals and insects. We saw different colors. We saw things painted, and we talked about the shapes they were. We saw so many different things, and it was truly the most educational experience that you could ever have in like 30 minutes for a toddler. I mean, he is learning so much more about the world from a 30-minute walk outside than he is from sitting down writing his letters and his numbers for 30 minutes. Like, you cannot argue that with me. There's just so much that we can learn outside of the classroom. And I think it's time for us to wake up and realize that that's the truth, to realize that we are in 2020 and it is becoming the year of technology, the year of doing things on your own, the year of not going to a classroom, not following the traditional structure. And I think for education, it could be a really important, positive year if we take things in the right direction and handle it the right way. So for any parents out there who are stressing about the fall, or if you're watching this later on, if you're stressing about homeschooling or unschooling, or maybe even if your kid is just on level or doing okay in school, I promise you, they're doing great. If you are loving your child, feeding your child, giving them somewhere to live, meeting their emotional, physical, spiritual needs, they're doing fine. It doesn't matter whether they go to the private school, to the public school, whether they're homeschooled, whether they're unschooled. If you're doing what you feel is right for them and right for you, that's great. Do whatever is right for you. For me and my family, we choose unschooling, but I know that there is no one right answer to each family. We are all different and all have our own needs and our own likes and dislikes, I guess. So I know this video has been a bit longer than most of my videos. If you've stuck with me so far, you're a champ. Thank you, love you. If you have enjoyed the video, be sure to like it and share with a friend who you think could enjoy it as well or could be helpful for them during their unschooling journey. Leave me a comment and let me know if you are an unschooler or if you're considering unschooling. I'd love to chat with you guys. Be sure to subscribe to my channel and I'll see you soon. Bye.